All right, so in this video, I want to talk about a new set of plans I have for the wood DIY vapor blaster. Right now, for a couple years now, I've had the plans for a 42 wide by 30 deep, and now I have another set of plans for a 60 wide, 40 deep. So that's a huge size, and that should be big enough to fit a motorcycle frame in, and that's what most people were concerned about. So basically, I went to you guys to ask, hey, what size would you guys like? And that's the general consensus, 60 by 40. And a quick note, so those are the two sizes available right now. I can make pretty much any size. This is all done in CAD. And then what I do is I create prints. So that way you just cut the wood to the dimensions, including the complicated funnel angles and all that, to whatever size. But right now I got the 42 by, the 42 by 30 and the 60 by 40. And I also started modeling up an 96 by 48. Maybe one day I will build that. That's going to be a total different build because it gets a little more complicated with the funnels and whatnot. But just keep that in mind. If someone wants to see a size that big, then I can work on that. But anyway, back to the 60 by 40. So initially, I thought, I need to build it to prove to you guys that it'll work, okay? But it'll be impossible for me to build every size variation, okay? So I just thought about it and said, hey, what's at risk here by going larger? And really, the only thing I can think of is the funnel angle, okay? Because as you go larger, the funnel becomes the angle becomes shallower, and the question is, will the slurry flow down back to the bucket here? And so what I did is I came out with a video where I just tipped this guy. I found out the angle that the funnel is going to be at 60 by 40. I tipped this such that that angle is achieved and the slurry flows no problem. In fact, I kept going until, to simulate an 8x4 version, and the slurry still flows with a two funnel setup. That's a different story. But anyway, so there's virtually no risk going larger, okay? And it can handle the weight just fine. I climbed in this thing. I weigh 175 pounds, and it didn't even flinch. So the thing is super strong. It's waterproof. So there that is, all right? So let me talk about the 60 by 40 specifically, and I did a CAD model review of this, so check that video out. And I just mentioned a couple things, and everyone seemed okay with it. So here it goes. So the 60 by 40, the interior size is a little over 39 inches tall, so it's much taller than this. And the reason being, the only thing that drives that height dimension is obviously whatever you're putting in it, but also the platform. The plastic platform I have here, what's nice is in normal operating mode, blasting or whatever, you have it horizontal, right? But let's say you want to do some maintenance to all the plumbing, the lines, clean it out, whatever. I like to take the platform internally and flip it so it's resting against the back wall like this. So obviously the height has to meet the depth. Okay, so I like to do that. If this 60 by 40 is too tall for you, you can easily modify the prints to just reduce the height a little bit. It's pretty simple, and if you have questions on that, email me. I'll walk you through it. So here are the dimensions. This guy here is 70 tall to here. The 60 by 40 would be 80 tall, and then the box is another 7 inches tall, okay? Now, the box doesn't have to live there. You could put it anywhere you want, but I feel it's a space savings having it on top versus off the side or whatever, at least in my garage. So you can put this guy anywhere, okay? Another thing I mentioned, that this guy right now is at a pretty good height, but 10 inches taller, that's up there. So you might have to relocate it to the front face here. Not a big deal. Another thing, if you look at the cab model, I went with the next size larger window, which is wider than this, but it's still this height. So you have a lot of real estate above here, and it would actually benefit from a larger window. So in the plans, I have just the wider window, but what you can do is buy 2 bezel kits, okay, and do not buy the glass. Find out what window size you need. Get a glass company nearby you to cut you a piece of glass to a larger size, and then you buy 2 bezel kits. And you will be cutting up these bezel kits to go around your new window size. All this bezel does is it puts pressure on the glass to force it into the seal that I have. That's it. And to make it look nice. So you can, this bezel is actually 2 pieces right now, and the wider one is 2 pieces as well. What you can do is you can hack it up out of 2 kits and get a full piece for the larger glass. So that's one way to go around that. Another thing is you can dry blast with the 42 by 30. You can also dry blast with the 60 by 40. However, media flow is marginal with this one. I can blast with 50 pounds of media in here for 10 to 15 minutes, but then the media stops flowing to the metering valve. So you have to lift up the grate and push it. It's annoying, but the fact that this can be a wet and dry blast cabinet, you can flip-flop between the processes in the same day, is pretty amazing, honestly. And first and foremost, it's mainly for vapor blasting. Okay, it was built to vapor blast, but then an afterthought was like, wow, why can't I dry blast with it? And so anyway, this funnel is not ideal for dry blasting, but it works. Okay, just keep that in mind, that you're gonna have to push the media towards the metering valve hole. Okay, so like I said, all the videos in the plans, which is 14 hours of video content, there's 36 video chapters. It shows you how to build this. The videos show you the techniques and everything on how to build this. Everything can be applied to the 60 by 40. The only thing that changes is obviously the pieces of wood that you cut out per the prints. And in the section where I cut the angles for the funnel, instead of going to this angle, you're going to go to that angle. And I give you the prints, so you basically are setting up the saw for a different angle cut, and that's it. Everything else is the same. All right, guys, so I have a couple plans available. I got the 42 by 30, the 60 by 40, and I also have a bundle where you can get both sizes, and that way you can decide later on which one to build. The link will be in the upper right on how to purchase. Email support is included, and also if you buy the plans, you have access to a private Facebook group, which is build support. So you can go in there and ask questions, and there's over 300 members, and we all pitch in and help each other out and share ideas. It's awesome. Okay, here's one example of a print you get. This is for 1 sheet of plywood. By the way, the 60 by 40 plans, you need 5 sheets of plywood. All dimensions are dual dimensioned in inches and in millimeters. I know that was a request for everyone outside the US. And also, you guys have commented that, hey, make the geometry lines a little darker, because they were the same line thickness as the dimensions and it was hard to read. So I bumped up the thickness of all the geometry lines, and I updated all the prints to be dual dimensioned and to be more legible. So this is just one example of a 4x8 sheet and some of the funnel pieces you got to cut out and whatnot, and it's all dimensioned. So that's that. Here's an example of the spreadsheet you get of all the part links. So you got the part description, you got the store you need to go to. Here I just have Home Depot or any other big box store. It's basically lumber and screws on this list. You got the quantity, you got manufacturer part number, vendor part number. Now these are all blank because, well, for lumber and screws, I don't feel that's very necessary. But as you get into some of the more detailed components, I list this because depending where you live, prices change all the time. You might want to search by the manufacturer part number, and maybe you can buy it off eBay or Amazon, or maybe even the local store has it. So I just want to give you that option. Here I got the cost each, cost total, and then here, this column, link. You click on this, and it brings you to the site where you can order it from. And I kind of organized it by sections and per vendor. So all you got to do down here is go buy from Home Depot, add it to your cart online, and boom, you can order it all up. And that's just a little more convenient because there's like 150 parts that go into this thing. So it's you know, it's a lot of parts and a lot of places you got to buy from. You'll be buying from like 8 different vendors, so that's helpful. So the 60 by 40 requires 5 sheets of plywood to build, and that is for a single door. I would think something like 60 by 40, you might want 2 doors. So you would need another sheet of plywood, making a total of 6. And you know, the prints have dimensions for the door. It has prints for this side frame, and obviously this side frame. You choose whether you want to cut 2 of these or just 1. Make it 1 door or 2 door, left, right door, whatever you want. But just keep that in mind that you will need another sheet of plywood if you want 2 doors. All right, well, that's going to do it for this video. Remember, the plans are on the upper right and in the video description. I have several sizes available, or you can even go back and look at my Harbor Freight conversion plans, which are the easiest way, least expensive way to get into vapor blasting.